DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino is coming soon to Ontario. Soon you'll be able to legally bet on all your favorite sports, ranging from the NHL to UFC, playoff hoops, and so much more. And that's not all. What if we told you the hottest new casino will be available right from your phone? DraftKings has all the latest features and promotions, ranging from daily odds boosts to best-in-class casino games, and so much more. Soon you'll be able to place a same-game parlay, score daily odds boosts, and play your favorite slots games anytime, anywhere in the province. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Get excited, Ontario. DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino is on the way. While you wait, check out DraftKings now and tell them I sent you by using the promo code RinkRat. That is RinkRat. That's promo code RinkRat. DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino coming soon to Ontario. I'm really hyped about this myself. Absolutely favorite thing to do. Saturday, when the NHL randomly decides to shove all the games into one day for whatever reason. You start off in the morning. They usually got games 1 p.m. all the way to the West Coast games at night. You can sprinkle a responsible wager here and there throughout the day. Makes it so much more entertaining. It's the best thing to do. Check it out. DraftKings Sportsbooks and Casinos, promo code RinkRat. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600. 19 plus, physically present in Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Subject to successful AGCO registration and execution of an operating agreement with iGaming Ontario. All right, welcome everyone to the RinkRatReport podcast. We're recording this Wednesday. You'll probably be listening to this Thursday, the night that the Leafs take on the Washington Capitals. As always, joined by Josh and Jason.
How's it going?
Good.
We'll flex. We're on video, so we'll flex into the camera there. Nice. Oh yeah. Nice.
Oh yeah. Maybe we'll put it on video. Maybe people like that, but
maybe. I don't know.
JC,
I don't.
Shut up.
I'm sure you would. I don't know how appealing my ugly mug is, but we'll see. Anyways, Brad Marchand. Follow us on TikTok. Anywho, let's get into it. Quick little recap of what happened this week. So we're going from Stars game and on. 4-3 win in overtime against the Stars. Austin Matthews breaks the record. Adds a little cherry on top with that OT winner. Oh my God, that was disgusting. That was a little... And then are you not entertained on the road celebration to boot? This guy's just got so much jam. But Leafs didn't give up very many shots at all. I don't think Campbell played bad in this one. Not like whatsoever. Joe Pavelski is just an absolute freak in front of the net. The way that he tips the puck, like the way that you're supposed to defend a forward in front of the net. Like you give him the cross check, you lift their stick. His stick's in the air. He's still tipping everything. Freak of nature. Nothing else to say.
Honestly, that was a great goal.
Yeah. I think the first one was a little bit weird, but
I meant the game tying one for like that was like you just gotta tip your hat to that. Like no way to stop it and like tip your cap to a great tip.
Yeah, like Campbell didn't get many shots, but it's like the goals that came in were just very, very difficult to stop. He didn't have much of a chance on them. So I don't know. I didn't think he played bad in that one at all. But Austin Matthews night. How weird was that William Nylander goal in that game, though?
Yeah, I guess because we had the puck, they didn't want to blow it for the net being off. But the net was like far off. It wasn't like the peg was loose. The net was half off.
The Stars, they started playing music and they stopped playing.
Yeah, that was so weird. Yeah, and the camera also started zooming in on the goal. I was like, okay, the play's done, and then just like Leafs scored. I was like, wait, what? Like,
and they scored. I'd have been a little upset if I was a Stars fan in that one. But anyways. Big 4-3 win. Historic night for Austin Matthews. And then we go back to Scotiabank Arena against the Montreal Canadiens. I know these are usually games you look forward to, classics, but Montreal's not playing for much this year. They have the least amount of wins in the NHL. The Leafs beat them barely 3-2 because, of course, why would they beat a playoff team by more than one goal? Or even beat a playoff team at this point. It's getting a little frustrating.
You mean a non-playoff team?
Non-playoff team. Fuck. We're on a roll, aren't we? Non-playoff team. But 3-2. The Leafs got a bunch of shots in this one. I did feel like they got lucky. Jake Allen. Erik Shulgren started for the Leafs in these next 2 games. Jake Allen got injured early. Now the Leafs Matthews got that goal. You drive the net, you get the dirty ones that happen. Like, that's just a goal scorer's goal. Jake Allen gets injured in that one. And then Matthews goes in, like, it wasn't the greatest kind of goal, but the Leafs did get a little bit lucky that Montembeault wasn't warmed up at all, really. Comes into an NHL game cold, and then Matthews takes advantage of it. But that's the game of hockey, I guess, kind of thing, right? Not the most eventful of games. 3-2 win for the Toronto Maple Leafs in regulation. I really did like how the Leafs D were pinching and engaging in the offensive zone in this one. Actually, pretty well all week. We'll get into that a little bit more. But, yeah. And then Erik Shulgren in this game as well, I thought he played pretty well. Made some great saves on Josh Anderson, Nick Suzuki, and Cole Caulfield there. Cole Caulfield did get the better of him again, but he didn't have to make the most amount of saves, but he was a decent part of this win. It was good to see him play well. And then our final game of the week, a little 5-2 stinker. Jason, you were at the game. What was that like?
It was brutal, honestly. It was brutal. It was brutal to watch live because it felt like there was just no air in the tires at all. Just kind of a zero purpose game for the team. It looked like they just weren't playing with any purpose. And I guess it kind of is, but they're still fighting for a standing spot, even though it's the Buffalo Sabres you're playing. But I feel like Craig Anderson. I feel like he has
he's got their number.
I feel like he has Austin Matthews' number. There was one play where like Matthews took it hard to the net. Anderson made a good save, and Matthews just standing. I don't know if he said something to Anderson, but he was just after the whistle, he was just standing there staring at him for like 10 seconds. It was like, I don't know if that's like a intimidation tactic for Matthews or what it was. It was something I noticed just being at the game. It's just like, wow, like I don't know if Matthews likes this guy, like because Matthews.
What about Matthews getting the puck right and tight and then trying to pass it, and that gets broken up and it goes the other way?
That was wild. Yeah, and they scored on that play too, which is crazy. That was like the momentum shift of the game. It felt like, but yeah, I don't know. Craig Anderson seems to have Austin Matthews' number. He's like Jordan mentality after he scored 4 goals against them in Austin Matthews' debut. I feel like I don't know if the stats back it up, but I feel like he's had Austin Matthews' number since then. But maybe not. Maybe it's just this year. Who knows?
It's this. I think it's this year. I used to make videos like of Austin Matthews scoring on Craig Anderson, and I had some good content for it. But this year, oh my God, like there was one play. It felt like Anderson dropped on one of them and it just hit him, kind of thing. It was just through a screen. Matthews sends it on net, and he couldn't buy one this game. He had a couple good slot shots, but could not buy one. Credit to Craig Anderson. 5 goals against the Leafs in 3 games, and the 2-goal game was in the outdoor game. So, hat tip where it is due, I suppose. But I think
Sabres, it's weird. It's weird.
Odd.
I know. The Fartalo Sabres. I can't believe. I mean, the big thing that I noticed with the Buffalo Sabres, like, remember last year at this time, people were calling Rasmus Dahlin a bust. What changed?
That's weird.
What changed? Don Granato became head coach. I did not love the way that Ralph Kruger was using him. I did not love the way he was using that entire team. When you look at it, there was a few guys that just turned around their careers under Don Granato. Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin, and Jeff Skinner. Well, Jeff Skinner, renaissance kind of thing. He's a good goal scorer. But under Ralph Kruger, all of those guys stunk up a storm. And someone commented on our YouTube video of it was Taylor Hall highlights from when he was in Buffalo, and they're like, oh, Hall and Eichel were cancers to this team. I think you got the wrong guy there, bud. Ralph Kruger, by all accounts, nice guy, but could not coach. I feel like. Because Dahlin looked awesome last night.
Yeah, honestly, it's interesting because his actual underlying numbers are no better than last year at all. But he's playing a lot more, which is good. And obviously the team's still not very good. He is just like a big positive and then big negative guy. Like he gives it and then take, but he's still young. Like anyone who called him a bust ahead of time, like was just,
he's a 2000 born.
It's not fair. He's very young and he's going to be very good. Like you might have to wait for his peak might still be 5 years away, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And you add another guy, Owen Power, who debuted. Jason, what did you think of him watching him in person?
He looked good from the minimal amount I saw him on the ice. It was tough trying to pick him out. But then I realized, I'll just look for the tallest guy on the team. And I'm like, okay, there he is. So
he's not even the tallest at 6'4".
No, really?
Tage Thompson's 6'7".
I guess, yeah. Well, tallest, I guess they're all big, honestly. Dowling's pretty decently big too. But yeah, no, he was played pretty well. I was more impressed and saw more of Dahlin though that game. He looked really good. He was not really good, but just not as advertised by some Buffalo Sabres fans, feels like.
Yeah.
Played a lot better.
As Josh said, big positive, big negative. What was Erik Karlsson at the beginning of his career? Then you add your Mark Mathot's or your
Victor Hedman too.
Yeah, exactly. Felt the same way about Victor Hedman, yeah.
And then they start to pick and choose their rushes and their offensive goes. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Anyways, what I was going to say to Jason, were you more impressed or sauced?
A little bit of both. How about that?
I mean, what else was there to do in that game?
Yeah. It was a tough one towards the end. Definitely towards the end. We were holding out hope, but then.
Yeah. They got a couple chances, and I mean, there was a pretty big break. Too. Yeah, exactly. And then there was the Mikheyev chance right after that, which Mikheyev really needed that one. He made two bad mistakes, I felt like, on the penalty kill. He gave up the lane in the first goal, which allowed Okposo to get the puck in a good area. I think it was on the second goal, which was also a power play goal. He gave up the blue line. He got beat very badly on the blue line there, which allowed the break to then go in. I think it was the Thompson goal there. So not the greatest night for the penalty, by not the greatest, I mean, absolutely terrible night for the penalty kill there. Erik Shulgren, what did you guys think of him last night?
I thought he played okay. I don't really remember any stinkers that he gave up, but he is what he is, right? He's not going to be a starter for you, but he's our backup right now, and that's all we can ask for.
Exactly. I mean, no stinkers. I laid it out to you guys how each of the goals, what happened, what he did wrong on them. There were no stinkers. All of the goals were, I think all of the goals, most of the goals, if not, were passes through dangerous areas or into dangerous areas. Pretty good guys getting the puck there as well. They were defensive breakdowns essentially by the Leafs there. It makes it more difficult when the puck's moving that fast, on a pass before the shot. The pre-shot movements, there was a lot of them this game, which the expected goals is not going to pick up. When there's more pre-shot movements before the goal, it's more likely that the goalie's going to make an ill read or not the greatest of reads, or make a little bit of a mistake, or put him a bit off of his angle. And I felt like that happened on pretty much all of those goals, but he did make some pretty good saves. I thought his rebound control was good in this one as well. So it is what it is. It's like a C- kind of thing for him, I thought, that night.
Yeah. Goaltending's kind of status quo, right? Actually, I will say, Campbell didn't play in this previous game, and Sheldon Keefe kind of insinuated that he's not injured, but he's not quite 100%. How concerned are we with Campbell right now in terms of injury-wise, or is it just a rest day that they maybe talk too much about to the media?
Maybe it was a rest day that they just said too much about, because they said that today that Campbell is going to be ready to play tomorrow, I believe, or at least should be ready. So
I am kind of worried simply because I think it's something he can play through. However, is he going to play through and his play is going to diminish as a result? That's where I'm a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see. It's going to be something to keep an eye on, and to keep an eye on the post-game press conferences and all that, to see what they're saying, what he's saying about all of this. Right. But the injury bug back at it again. Jake Muzzin did not play against Buffalo there. I mean, I'm going to talk about the D pairings. I tweeted something. We actually said this a bunch too. So I'm going to drag you guys in with this. They changed the D pairings. They put back Reilly and Liljegren. And I said, that didn't work before. Why would you do it again? And people came out with these charts. Oh no, but look at the expected goals. It's above relative when they're on the ice together. I get that. They give up a lot of passes and they don't defend that well together. And last night, they were the only two defensemen that played well, or played even remotely well, I would say. Mm-hmm. They were awesome together.
So, yeah, the biggest thing I noticed last night, especially with the decor, is kind of like taking this another way, but like that Lyubushkin Gio pairing just didn't look good at all together. But no. I thought that
Brody Hall stunk.
Brody Hall wasn't good, yeah, but that Reilly Liljegren was like the engine of our team, I guess, if you can call it, for that game, because they're the only ones who seemed like they actually wanted to do something. Mind you, like I was also partially having a lot of fun at that game, so but yeah, that's kind of what I saw. I don't know, what do you guys?
So like the big thing, they're two offensive defensemen. The deficiency is more so on the side of defending the front of the net. They had the puck all game. There was a few great plays where they were. Or one would have the puck, the other would start up, and they would start the rush off very easily. They would send it to the other pairing, the other guy who would be at the blue line. They'd start a rush from there. If you recall the bunting shot that Marner almost tipped in with his stick, like it went through Anderson, it hit the post, and then Marner almost tipped it in. That started off from a Reilly cross ice to Liljegren, and then a nice hook pass to Bunting there, where Marner just left it, right? So a couple good plays like that, a couple good shots from the blue line. But I didn't feel like they had to defend, and as a result, that pairing did very well. I'll be curious to see what they can do against Washington, though.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think that – sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I think a lot of that has to do with how Timothy Liljegren has responded to that. It was a poor stretch of play. I know people will dog on you for that tweet, but he did get scratched after that, right? Like, he was out of the lineup after a couple games with Reilly. And we said, maybe at the time it was a little bit too much of an assignment for him. And, it sucks that he gets scratched, but we'll see how he responded. And then lo and behold, they end up trading for Mark Giordano, and Mark Giordano makes everyone look good. And it's helped Liljegren's confidence a lot. I think it's fair to say that he has really stepped up his game over the last month. So, you got new look Liljegren with Reilly, and maybe that's why it looked a lot better. But they also played a lot at even strength. They played significantly more.
Over 15 minutes.
More than that.
Together, I mean.
Oh, together. Sorry.
Together.
Yeah. Wow. That's a crazy amount when you consider that Giordano only played 11 minutes total at 5-on-5. So, it was interesting though. I still don't think those are optimized pairings for us. I think most likely once Muzzin comes back, you're looking at Muzzin back with Brody, Liljegren or Hall back on the third pair, and then Lyubushkin back with Reilly. But who knows? We'll see. But yeah, it's good to see though. There's nothing, Timothy Liljegren stepping up. He's putting a claim to a spot for the playoffs right now. And that was something for me that I didn't expect to happen, but mostly because I didn't think the Leafs would give him the shot. And I'm still a little skeptical that they will give him the shot though, because Justin Holl does not seem to come out of the lineup.
Doesn't.
He did earlier in the year, but since then I haven't really seen much. You're right. And it was unfortunate to see him scratch before Muzzin ended up coming. I think it was in the Montreal game, would it have been, where he was scratched, right?
Who, Liljegren?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he responded.
And did he play the Stars game too? I think he was.
I want to say he was scratched for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Lyubushkin played 3 this week, and Muzzin's only
got 2. He was scratched.
Scratched twice.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Which game was Lyubushkin scratched in? This is great radio.
He wasn't.
Florida.
Sorry.
No, Florida.
Oh, it's Florida. Yeah. Okay.
Remember they blew the lead? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. And that was our narrative. Okay. Back on track now. But what was it? Was it Bunting also got into a fight after a goal this week? I love that guy.
Yeah, against Montreal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That guy just brings the jam right there.
Yeah.
But
I will say also, just talking about D quickly, like Owen Power had a really good debut, and everyone kept replaying that blocked pass on the 2-on-1 from Bunting to Matthews. That was one of the worst 2-on-1 passes of all time by Michael Bunting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
He just literally feathered it right to Owen Power. No sauce, no deception. Tape to tape right to him. Like Owen Power actually didn't really play that well. If there was a saucer pass, it probably goes through. Like he was really upright, but for whatever reason, Bunting just passed it right to his stick.
Or even like stop up, maybe cut to the middle a little bit more. Like it was a bit of a weird one, I will agree, but it worked out for him. He got rocked by Spezza, which is kind of funny. And someone made a note on Twitter that Spezza made his NHL debut before Owen Power was even born.
Oh, that's wild.
So kind of funny to see that. In terms of quickly the lines, just we'll start with the forward lines just real quick. Like, do you think they're optimized at this moment?
Forward lines?
Yeah.
Not like it's tough to say. Like I yes and no, I guess. I don't know. I really like to see that third line back together without Nylander on it. Like that's the one thing that I feel like we're missing lately from our
Nylander
lineup.
to line 2.
I don't know wherever he would fit, but just I
mean, it's not going to line 1, so
Mikheyev or Kosh on that line, I think would be
I agree.
A big help to that line.
I agree. It's just at this point, it's where do you put William Nylander?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird because like we shouldn't be. I feel like with a player who's that good, it shouldn't be a struggle to find out a line that fits with him. But it seems like whichever lines he goes to, the line that he comes off of just seems to be playing better. I saw like a recent. I forget who it was on Twitter. They were tweeting about how John Tavares without William Nylander hasn't been that good than with William Nylander, which honestly is true over the whole season. But if you look at just up until like from January 1st onwards, that is like completely not the case at all. It was the case.
What are the numbers? Do you have them?
Shoot,
we'll look
them up. Give me a sec. I got.
We'll make sure we get it into the episode because I did see the same thing. It was like 51% without and 55 with, but that's over the entire season when they were playing well at the beginning of the year. It fell off a cliff pretty much in 2022. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Joe. And that's exactly what Jason was saying. And he'll bring the stats up, but while he's looking, what did you think of the Sheldon Keefe blender again against Buffalo?
I thought it was dumb, per usual. I don't understand why he does that. If these are not your optimized lines, then why are you putting them out there? It just makes no sense. We're pretty much rehashing the same thing we said after the second last Buffalo game, I think it was, where they lost 5-1. Like, if you need to change it up, then like, why weren't these the lines to start? Right. So I don't know. I mean,
it was odd. It was really odd. The other thing I don't get is like, why is Abruzzese in the lineup if you just play him 5 and 6 minutes like every night?
What was his total time on ice this game?
I'm only looking at even strength. Against Buffalo, he played 6:49 at even strength. I'm sure
he played power play too, so
yeah,
so it wasn't very much.
The total was, but like
I think I'm looking more and more right every day. That's a play from the agent.
Yeah, it seems like it. Look, yeah, total ice time was 9 minutes in that Buffalo game, 6 minutes total in the Dallas game. Only played 9 shifts in the Dallas game. Like, what are we doing? We have a lot of forwards. We got a guy in the AHL who's literally ripping the league up right now. And that's not some Leaf fan biased exaggeration. Like, he literally is not almost a goal a game, but he's 0.75 goals per game since he got sent back down, correct?
Yeah. Like something like that.
He's been absolutely on fire, and he was much more effective in his shifts when he was up than Nick Abruzzese has. And so and then they blend the lines, and instead of, okay, let's make one switch, and maybe it's, okay, David Kampf, you're going to play less because we need to score, and Spezza goes up, and now it's Spezza, Engvall, Nylander. That would make sense in my brain. Then you're kind of rolling 3 lines, but it's not that. He changes every single line, and it makes no sense to me. I've talked about this before. It has never worked either. Like, that's the part I keep going back to is when things go bad, this is like Sheldon Keefe's crutch, is to throw the lines in a blender. But I don't remember it once working this year.
It did work, not this year, but it did work. If you recall, game 4 of the play-ins against Columbus.
That was just all they did was put Tavares with Marner and Matthews. And then,
but the best was they stuck to that though. They stuck to Tavares, Marner, and Matthews. And what they've been doing here, it's like, okay, let's try Marner, Matthews, and Nylander. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, now let's try Marner, Mikheyev, Tavares. Like, he's getting a random name generator and then just throwing them out there and being like, okay, yeah, you guys go. Let's see if that works.
I got really excited at the game because I saw William Nylander center Alexander Kerfoot and Ilya Mikheyev. I'm like, whoa, this is a new look. Like, that's interesting. Let's see this. They play one shift and then you never see them again.
No,
it's like, what's going on here? If you want to test that out, let's test it out. But not like, why are we only doing it for one shift? It seemed to me with the blender, he just didn't want Abruzzese or who else was it? Was it Spezza?
Spezza and Blackwell.
I think it was.
It was Blackwell.
Yeah, Spezza and Blackwell kind of went in and out. They didn't want those 4 guys playing that much. Like, all right, like I don't know. You don't have to pull out a blender for that, right? Like you can still keep the first line together and not play those guys, right? Like that's the one thing that bothers me the most about the blender, I think, is that you're splitting up essentially what's been the best line in hockey this year, right? And like, is that beneficial for your team? I don't know. I don't think it is.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
Not at all.
Quickly, I got the stats for John Tavares and William Nylander. And first of all, with the tweet, I don't have the exact tweet, but one thing the big thing that they were talking about was that basically that the line was getting PDO bombed.
I saw that.
And so but then they were also referencing like expected goals as well as like PDO. It's like those things kind of don't really go together, right? But I can understand where they were coming from. So full season, John Tavares and William Nylander, expected goals for per 60. They have a 2.99 expected goals for per 60, 2.48 expected goals against per 60, which gives you a 54.65% expected goals for. Now, that pretty much is exactly the same when William Nylander is on the ice without John Tavares, okay? But when John Tavares doesn't have William Nylander, he has 2.8 expected goals and 2.53 expected against. So a little bit more expected against, a little bit less expected goals for a total of 52.54 expected goals for. Okay. Now, if you are to make the starting date of this January 1st, which would be 42 games played compared to 71 games played, William Nylander and John Tavares still not too bad together, 52% Corsi for, right? 2.71 expected goals for. There seems like since in the beginning of the year, they're obviously getting a much greater chances, much better expected goals, similar expected goals against 2.43 per 60 to get you 52.79 percentage. Now, Willie Nylander without John Tavares is only expected his expected goals for 2.35 and his expected goals against are 2.45. So he's actually losing the expected goals battle without John Tavares. Maybe that's because he's playing with a more defensive line. Who knows, right?
It is.
But that line without him was winning the expected goals.
Exactly, right?
By a decent margin, too.
Absolutely. So maybe
pretty much John Tavares is doing worse without William Nylander, and William Nylander is doing horribly without John Tavares because his center is now David Kampf most of the time.
But also, I just want to point out, John Tavares' expected goals for and expected goals against without William Nylander, he's 3.13 expected goals for and 2.23 expected goals against.
So he's been better overall.
He's been significantly better overall. And this is like a good amount of minutes, too. The total time on ice for William Nylander and John Tavares since January 1st is 400. Total time on ice, John Tavares without William Nylander is 183. So about 200.
Oh, wow.
I think that's a good enough sample where we can start to be like, okay, this is maybe not a small sample size. This might be starting to get to the point where it's like, okay, this is something that needs to be looked at as maybe a trend. Who knows? But yeah.
I honestly, I think playing him at center could be an interesting little experiment here.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to do it, but that would be the way to optimize really your lineup. If he could place, he doesn't have to even win faceoffs or do him or Kerfoot stepping in at center, playing with a Nick Robertson as your third line. I think we're all pretty happy with that third line, but it doesn't seem like they're interested in doing that. So I'm going to stop preaching that every episode, but it would be interesting. I think in summation, Jason, from the numbers you brought, which were great, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, in this little stretch of John Tavares playing without William Nylander, analytically at least, he's performed a lot better. I don't know why. I'm sure people have a lot of theories maybe why, but that just happens to be a fact. And, maybe Nylander is being dragged down by the defensive minutes a bit, but for whatever reason, he's just been not as analytically good. Still scoring goals, still getting points, not as analytically good.
That was a good kind of summation of the issues, I suppose you could say, that the Leafs are facing with the forward lines there and what to do with two pretty high-powered offensive players. Now, it's the springtime. For a little word from our sponsor, Manscaped. Fellas, have you started your spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing. Spring has sprung, and the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming have the best tools for cleaning aisle 5 in your pants. Time to clean out your winter bush and join the 4 million men worldwide who trusted Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code RinkRat. That is RinkRat. 20% off and free shipping with the code RinkRat at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. I'm telling you, I got the shampoo and the body wash as well as the, I don't know why I always draw a blank, deodorant, underarm deodorant from Manscaped, and the lip balm too. I don't want those dry lips out there in the spring. It's all awesome stuff. I cannot recommend Manscaped.
Yeah.
Enough.
I used the body wash this weekend, went out with the boys, and not going to expose them, but one of them did pull me aside and said, you know what, you smell pretty good right now. So a couple pops deep, and your boys will love the smell. Yeah, I know you're smelling.
It'll be like back in the day, good. An apple pie on the windowsill. They start floating to you. Everyone.
Oh yeah. So it smells good. I don't know how else.
Oh yeah.
Body wash
cologne in it, I think it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's absolutely what it is. It's infused and it's great stuff. It's great stuff. Yeah.
Let's get into a little bit of D-talk. Right after the Manscaped battle, D-talk. But Muzzin got injured again. I think he's just not 100%. Probably could have played if it was playoffs. Any concerns with that, or is it the same sort of thing you guys feel with Campbell?
I have concerns. I don't want to, but you're talking about a guy with a long injury history who just came back from an injury, and now he's, even if it's one game missing because of an injury, like, how confident are you that he's durable enough to play, if he needs to 20, 25 games in the playoffs? Like, it's a tall task.
25 minutes too. Also, the thing on top of that with the injury, it's not can he play, it's can he play up to his level. I mean, we've seen him try to play through injuries earlier in the year, and quite frankly, he stunk. So he came back. He looked pretty decent, I would say. Scored a goal as well. But, I mean, yeah, I can see your concerns with the injury, and I do kind of share them a little bit. Not, we'll see. Hopefully that rest really helped him out there, though.
Yeah, I think they also maybe like a little underestimating Buffalo on the schedule there. Like,
yeah, probably
that could have been a thing, Because maybe if they were playing the Lightning, do you think those guys wouldn't have played? No way to know for sure, but if I had to guess, those guys both probably play.
They're both back in against Washington, a playoff team.
Interesting.
So I understand what you mean there. It's kind of interesting. And you know what? As a result, Tuck and Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner ate their lunch, and Rasmus Dahlin. Can't underestimate him too. So, Ilya Lyubushkin, limited minutes. Jason, you want to expand on that part?
Yeah, he played the least amount of minutes in the game against Buffalo. I think he didn't play well, but just I don't know. It seems like his minutes have been reducing since he's been scratched. So, but we'll see how that plays out. I think his minutes. I think he was only 18 minutes. I think he's played more though with the Leafs. He's playing a little bit more before they.
Definitely. Looks like 16 minutes, 15 minutes, 12 minutes in the last 3 games, which is much lower.
I understand last game at least. I mean, they're down. He's not playing that well. He's not a very good offensive player, so you kind of give him a seat. But the other games, I don't know.
Yeah, stylistically though, just like with how they play, I just don't think that putting him with Giordano helps him at all. I don't think that's because I find like one of Giordano's strengths and why he works so well with Liljegren was that if he was ever back retrieving the puck, he would always find the correct play and most of the time give it to his partner in open space. And Liljegren's very dangerous in open space in his own zone. He can do many things with he can get the puck out very easily when he has the space to do it. Whereas Ilya Lyubushkin isn't as refined at doing those sorts of things. So I don't know if they really played off each other too well in the game. So I really felt he got dealt kind of a poor hand and is losing minutes as part of it. But I just hope he gets in the eyes of the coaches, gets back into form and gets more minutes. Because I think he's like really effective when you play him the right way.
Interesting observation there.
Yeah,
I agree too. I mean, his strengths are his what the Leafs don't really have in their defensive line and what they didn't have before, clearing the front of the net, right? A little bit of physicality in there too. So you gotta, I feel like with defensemen, you really do have to stylistically pair them, because if you can't just put a good defenseman with another good defenseman, because okay, what are they good at? They have to play that 200-foot game, right? Are they offensive? Are they defensive? Are they smart with the puck? Are they good in transition with the puck? How are they defensively breaking up plays? How are they taking away passing lanes? How are they clearing the front of the net, right? So you got to kind of find that perfect pairing that fit like a glove, and hopefully give them enough reps together where they're comfortable playing with each other in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So just going off what you guys said, even if let's pretend I didn't watch any of the games this week, is it a good bet to say that Ilya Lyubushkin will be out of the lineup for the next game?
Maybe if Muzzin's coming back, then it seems like he's the odd man out here, but still like, again, I'm a big Hall guy. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism sometimes fair. But I think right now, like just based off the past, or since Lyubushkin has played for us, I feel like he's been better than Hall. I don't care if it's 1, 2, 3 games. Like I always find that he's just doing the things that we need more better than what Hall's doing. Mm-hmm. Like we said before, like what is Hall's best attribute? What does he do well?
He stunk last game.
He just does the.
I really gotta say he stunk. There was one of the goals where Buffalo, I can't remember which, or it was a good chance or a goal. Buffalo just chipped it in, and it was like almost right on his stick, and he just turned it over. Like how many successful passes did he have last game in his own end?
There was a guy behind me counting the turnovers he made, and I'm shocked that like I looked at the score app later. It said 0 turnovers. I'm like, okay, that's not right. Like the guy was good. The guy had a couple beers in him, but he got up to like 7, 8. I don't know how accurate he was, but yeah, like
was it Nick?
No. We were chatting.
Suey bombing.
It was didn't have the best game. Neither him nor Lyubushkin clearly had a good game, but I think Hall was in the better opportunity to have a good game. So
I think I'm kind of coming around to the idea that there's a good chance they're going to be using all 7 defensemen in the playoffs now. I think.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. A little bit of competition just to make sure you don't make that colossal mistake.
No, sorry. I don't think at once, which I actually don't think is that bad of an idea, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But I think 70 rotating in and out every game. So 60 are playing, but you're using your 7th, maybe 1 or 2 games in and out, whether it's Lyubushkin out for Liljegren or Hall or Liljegren out, one of those combinations. Or if Sandin comes back, then I definitely think they'll blender it even more. But I think you got 5 guys locked in for sure.
Yeah, Sandin was skating this week. Not with the group, not with the team, but skating on his own. So he's not fully out. I think he's less injured than I originally anticipated. So that'll be something to keep your eye on.
Yeah, maybe they're just testing to see how like the pain tolerance with it, if he can play. Because they did mention it being week to week, right? Like, and we don't know exactly what it would be, but
I think he's on LTIR too right now.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Yeah. And I don't think the Leafs can really make they could. Never mind. They could make a move. They could just send down Clifford or Epperzizi or someone.
I really want them to keep. Sorry to jump in. I really want them to keep Muzzin and Brody together though. So I think you got to start working off that. So you got Muzzin, Brody. It's most likely going to be Morgan Reilly and on the first or whatever you want to call it pair, and it's most likely going to be your Giordano on the third pair. So how does that fit in? I really, until they scratch Justin Hall, I'm almost considering him a lock for the lineup. Do you guys think that's fair?
I think that's pretty fair. Yeah.
I mean, how many minutes did he play compared to everyone else yesterday? I think he played a decent amount of minutes, right?
Yeah,
against Buffalo.
Yeah, he still did. He still played more than Giordano or he actually played the third most 5-on-5 minutes. Played more than Brody at 5-on-5.
Played more than Timothy Liljegren.
Against Buffalo?
Yeah. Liljegren 1909 total, Justin Hall 2027, but also that includes penalty kill, which he plays a good amount of.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me. They really like him clearly, but I don't know. I think the fan base has clearly not been pleased with his game lately. Let's just say that. But until he comes out of the lineup, I'm not gonna not going to say he's not a part of that core five that plays every single game. So is it Giordano Hall, and then you're rotating Lyubushkin and Liljegren with Morgan Rielly? That seems a little risky. Then I don't know. I really seems like the most optimal way to do it is Rielly, Lyubushkin, Muzzin, Brody, Giordano, and Hall or Liljegren. But the problem with that is it's not going to be Liljegren, and that'll disappoint us, right? So we're kind of going in circles here a bit, but
yeah,
see what happens.
Guess Justin Hall's expected goals last game.
Percentage?
Yeah.
Let's go with 40.
He's usually around 50%.
55.67.
Wow.
So, yeah, but that's like what average for on the team for yesterday. That's nothing special.
Yeah, but when you're blindly throwing out expected goals numbers and not referencing it with the actual play that you see on the ice, that's where stats and numbers become flawed, right?
But that's also that expected goal is also 10% below, relative to the rest of the team. So
relative, he was negative. Yeah, negative 10.23.
So he didn't play well still, right? Like
that's what. Yeah. Yep. Minus 43.7 relative for Jason Spezza, and then 41.08 for Lyubushkin.
Somebody pointed this out to me. I'm going to jump topics again here back to the forwards. When we were talking about, there's so many players that will fit in the lineup. And one of you guys said, yeah, we have so many good players. It's a good problem to have. And I jumped in and said, well, we have so many players. We just don't know which ones are necessarily good right now. That has really proven to be the case here. Because the fourth line has, no matter who's been in there, and I think, again, the blender is hurting them a bit, but really inconsistent play game to game. Really, and leading to them playing less and less over time.
Yep.
You know? So
I thought Montreal looked better, but even the results there did not back that up at all. Like they were hitting more for sure from what I saw, but it did not back it up at all. Colin Blackwell blown assignment on the Rasmus Dahlin goal there as well. Like that didn't help, right? So it's been really tough, that fourth line. Like, I mean, circle back a few months, and we thought, Simmons and Spezza on the fourth line was just praise the Lord, hallelujah, what great value. And now it's like these guys can't be in the lineup. They stunk. Right?
Yeah, Spezza undercover has had a really tough second half of the season. I know a lot of the pressure goes on Simmons for his lack of production, but I mean, I'll pull it up now. His play has been quite poor.
Bad.
So it's unfortunate, but he really has been invisible. Honestly, he has. He has 2 assists in his last 17 games. That's it. 2 assists in his last 17 games. So
that's not good.
It's not good. And there's guys waiting in the wings. That's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. So
that's tough.
Let's talk Knies. No, what do you think?
Yeah. So, Jason, did you have any theories on why Matt Knies has not signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs yet? Because the Leafs have clearly expressed a lot of interest. Kyle Dubas flew to Minnesota to chat with him. Austin Matthews, I believe, has chatted with him as well.
Wow, I didn't know that.
What's the latest?
Well, I don't know much about much in depth about the situation. I just know from kind of like what the pros and cons are of like if you stay in college just as a NCAA player, or if you decide to sign your entry level deal. Yeah. So basically the pros and cons, there's pros and cons of each. Like one of them obviously is you get to another year of education. You get to play hockey in the NCAA for whatever. Is it Minnesota? Where does he play?
University of Minnesota. Okay, one more year of education. Come on.
But you get to play in Minnesota. You get another year of education. Those are pretty much the pros. You get to play around, get to play against people more your age. Probably get a higher spot in the lineup there. If he signs his entry level deal, for him, it seems like from his perspective, there seems to be a lot of uncertainty. I'm sure if he comes over and signs, he wants to probably play in the NHL or play high up in the AHL. I don't know how if he even wants to play in the AHL. Who really knows, right? Like to him, maybe it's just if I'm going to be playing in the AHL next year, why am I not just playing in college? So
I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems like the pros of him coming to the NHL. There's the pros with the money, the improved development, those sorts of things might be outweighed by the fact that he might not have a chance to play. And I think that's maybe what he values most. And like, that's kind of concerning because, right, we want to be able to sign these guys because, again, like, if Matthew Knies wants to, he can go the route of Adam Fox and say, you know what, Toronto, I appreciate you guys drafting me, but after next year, I don't think I want to sign with you, so I'm going to become a free agent.
3 more years. You'd have to play 3 more years in college. He could
3 more years?
Theoretically say, like, I'm just not going to sign. I'm going to play out my 4 years, which Adam Fox did, and then forced Calgary's hand to trade him wherever he wanted to go. But the free agency would have to happen after 3 more years.
Okay.
To clarify that part.
Okay.
Additionally, I do like what you were saying. He doesn't want to play in the AHL next year. Why not just play in college kind of thing? Because it's also, I believe with guys coming out of college that are highly touted, they do want to burn that first year of the entry level deal as fast as possible. And in order to do so, you have to play a certain amount of games. So I feel like he's looking at the Leafs schedule and going, okay, there aren't enough games for me to play in the NHL and burn that first year of the entry level deal. So then it's going to slide to next year. And then next year I'm going to end up in the AHL anyways. Right. So I feel like he's like, okay, I could play next year in college and then I'm going to play very well. And you'll probably want me at the end of that year then. And I'm going to be able to force your hand and get into more NHL games and burn it at the end of that year anyways. Does that make sense? That's my theory.
Yeah, that does make sense. I saw another thing talked about on Twitter a lot, which I think is most likely correct, is that the Leafs have been against giving performance-based bonuses for their entry-level contracts.
Yep.
The reason they do that is because it limits the amount that the cap hit of that player can fluctuate, right? And they want to be their sales pitches. We're not going to give you performance bonuses, but we'll get you in the NHL sooner, so you'll be earning an NHL salary, etc. You'll be playing in the NHL.
And give you a bigger signing bonus.
Exactly, and give you a bigger signing bonus up front instead of the performance bonuses, which can mess with the cap.
Yeah.
But if that's a reason why you can't get Matthew Knies on the team, that is kind of an issue, in my opinion. Yeah. That's just speculation, but you know, I mean, that would be a real bad look, I think, for the Leafs if he goes back to college this year, but if he another year, if we're at the same spot a year from now, I would be really concerned. I would be really concerned. But I really think there's also the idea of tempering some expectations. He is a second round pick, like
low second round pick.
Maybe one every 10 years, maybe 2 second round picks play a significant role in their rookie year. It's extremely, extremely rare. So
especially the year after, like D+2 year.
Yeah, even D+2 year, it's rare for these guys to come in, let alone D+1.
Yeah, it's Jordan Kyro took how many? It took him 2 years. It took him 4 years after he got drafted to be a significant impact player. So he played 2 more years in the OHL, and then he played 2 years AHL, NHL, fluctuating. People were like, "What's this guy going to become?" And now he's a freaking superstar. There's so many other guys where that's the case. Like, he's big. He's the big thing with Matthew Knies and why the Leafs would want to sign him right now and why Leafs fans should want to sign him right now is he fills a big hole that's in the fourth line right now, adds a little bit of speed, adds a little bit of size, adds a little bit of jam. He's decent offensively. I would say that as well. He does need to improve some things in order to be a top 6 player. I wouldn't put him with Tavares right now in that second line winger position, but the jam that he would add in the fourth line, I believe, would be something like straight line jam would be electric. Him and Colin Blackwell, bing, bang, boom. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And that's why they're really pushing to sign him. But as Jason said, maybe he's looking at a Nick Robertson, a second round pick who got a little taste of action in his first year. And now we're 3 years out of his draft year and he's still in the AHL. I know injuries have contributed to that, but he did get a chance this year post-injury, and even in the
play-ins. And then the next year was
he's impressed, right? In my opinion, he's impressed. He's shown enough to at least get a spot on the fourth line or second power play. But for some reason, he can't get a consistent shot with the team. So maybe Matthew Knies looks at that and says, "Why?" As Jason said, "Why would I leave college to play in the AHL next year. And I agree with him. I don't think that's makes sense for development wise either. So,
I mean, with Nick Robertson, I did get to watch a shift by shift. It was them against Grand Rapids. I believe he got an assist. Good one-timer on the power play. Blandisi cleaned it up in front. But he is improving in terms of not just ripping shots every time he gets like a semi-decent chance. He is curling back. I would like him to curl back a little bit harder off of entries, but he is being a little bit smarter with the puck. He is passing the puck decently as well. Like when I watched him play, it wasn't just like, power play specialist. Like he was contributing pretty heavily out there, whatever the word is. But yeah, and he's decently fast too. It adds some nice speed to the lineup. Yeah. So,
and as you said, point per game in the AHL, 21 points, 21 games, looks pretty good.
Now that's what he's at.
Yeah, passes the eye test. Like, and now that we know Kasha is confirmed diagnosed with a concussion, which is unfortunate for him. Hopefully he'll get a chance to play in the playoffs, but might be a little unlikely now. Does that open up a spot for Nick Robertson now?
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. I don't know, why hasn't he been called up? Like,
I don't know. Clifford is still on.
I think it's
the NHL roster. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. He deserves. Like, I'm sorry. I think it's silly. Like, I know I've been banging this drum dry or whatever, being a dead horse, but I think he has 12 points in his last 10 games in the AHL since he's been sent down. He's scored over a point per game. Robertson, since being sent down from that little stint pre-trade deadline, seems like lights out in the AHL, and they're just not giving him a chance for whatever reason. I just don't I don't understand it. Like, I've seen enough of Nick Abruzzese right now to know that I think Nick Robertson's a better player. From what we've seen from Nick Robertson compared to Nick Abruzzese, it's night and day, honestly. Like, Abruzzese just doesn't look like he belongs in the NHL right now. Right? Like the way he's playing. Like, Shall keep him 5 minutes.
That's not a hot take. I'm sorry, that's not even close to a hot take.
Yeah,
I know it's not a hot take, but it's a harsh thing to say.
He has 3 shot attempts in 4 games. He has 3 shot attempts in 4 games.
Right now, I don't think this guy has been in the organization for a long time now, and he's been playing well. He's been through, honestly, like, he's had a tough road. He's been injured a lot and like kind of brought up and down a lot. Like, he doesn't really know where his place is in the organization, and he's playing right now like someone who deserves to be in the lineup, not only on the NHL cap sheet of like 15 of the 15 forwards he have. He shouldn't be one of those guys. He should be in the lineup. That's how good I think he's been playing in the AHL and how good he looked in the NHL. Like, I don't know, like who else is on the fourth line has been better than, like, so good that you're like, no, I don't want to take him out for Nick Robertson. I don't think there's anyone
so good, but I think Colin Blackwell's been
other than Colin Blackwell. Colin Blackwell is great. He's serviceable. It's a great way to put it, but I think there's other, like,
Simmons for 2 games,
Clifford, like those 3 guys. Like, they're, instead of just cycling them in, like, just throw Robertson in for a game. Like, why not? Why not? I don't know.
I think it has to do with contracts and promises made and handshake deals. That's why he's not been in as of right now.
Handshake deals with who, though? So you're screwing your.
What I said, Abruzzese. I said we're gonna get you to 9 games or whatever it is. How many games has he played so far? 4 games.
He's at 5.
He's at 4.
5. 4 or 5.
4.
So yeah, there's 11 games left in the regular season.
9 games left.
9 games left in the regular season. So 6 more games to burn that entry level deal. I think it's going to happen. Right? Am I out of line?
No, I think
that makes sense. Yeah.
I thought they already burned it, though. I thought he's on a 2-year ELC already.
He's on a 2-year ELC because of his age. He's a 99 born. So when you hit a certain age, you can, like, your entry level deal that you sign is only 2 years as opposed to 3. I think it's your overager year. That's when it's a 3-year deal. I think after that, it's 2 years. And then up until a certain age, I think it's 25 or whatever, then it becomes like a 1-year entry level deal. Like Kirill Semyonov was 27, 28, and he signed an entry level deal. I'm not sure on the ages, but that's how it is.
I don't know. I don't know if we're like, so you're saying they burn it and he'd only have 1 year left on his deal?
So yeah, he only has 1 year left.
why didn't they just deal him then? That seems extremely odd.
So I don't think that's how the slide works. I think the slide is only for players who are 18 or 19 years old. For cap friendly, if a player who is signed to an entry level contract and is 18 or 19 years of age does not play in minimum of 10 NHL games, their contract is considered to slide or extend by 1 year.
I think Matthew Knies is a late birthday 02, so that's why he would slide, right?
I think
he would slide.
He already has burned the first year.
Yes. Burnt it. Yeah,
Abruzzese has burned. That is correct. Yeah.
Wow, great research by me.
No, but it's fair. It's very confusing. I think a lot of people have no idea what's going on because it's there's people literally hired in departments in the NHL just to do this. So
yeah, but going off what you said with the handshake deals, maybe that's what happened with Abruzzese saying, like, maybe that's what got them to sign, saying like, listen, we want to play at least X amount of games. I don't know, or else we're not.
I think at one of the practices before he got scratched on, I don't think he played Saturday against Montreal, but I did see he had a talking to from Sheldon Keefe, and it did really look like the vanilla talk that Sheldon Keefe gave Jimmy Vesey.
But also, like, to be fair to Nick Abruzzese, I think he's a Harvard guy. He's smart, right?
Yeah.
Look, he could just look at the stat sheet and be like, "Well, I don't know if I'm earning my spot in the lineup right now."
Yeah, seriously.
Like it's not that complicated, right? And you look at the guys behind you. There's a lot of competition, so we'll see. Apparently, we're going to get a Matthew Knies decision probably within the next 24 to 48 hours. Yeah. So I personally do selfishly hope he does sign. I just want to see him play.
And then we get to see him play in the AHL next year. That'll be fun too.
Or maybe the NHL. Who knows? Like,
ooh.
Everyone, again, I just listening to Twitter. I have not watched a lot of Matthew Knies play. I prefer to just see what he looks like when he comes up. But again, people are making it out to be a really strong prospect, which is exciting. So we'll see what happens.
Beat my expectations for sure. But yeah. And so I think that
also we didn't even talk about Austin Matthews breaking the Leafs single season goal scoring record.
It's been so long. Because he broke it like right after we recorded last.
That's also because he's so good. We're like, we just expect him to do these things, and he does.
We waited literally 3 years for this. We knew it was going to happen 3 years ago. We're just like, all right, just give us a full season. You know, he was on pace to break it that year. He's
also at 58 right now. The record was 54.
Yeah, he
blew it out of the water. I was also digging into some 5-on-5 numbers, just and on Natural Stat Trick, it only goes back to 2007, I believe. But Matthews right now, I think he's I forget who he was tied with, but there's only one other. No, Stamkos has more. I think there was another player. Oh, I think it was Austin Matthews actually. No, wait, I don't know. I don't remember, but there was another player I think who had 38 5-on-5 goals. But yeah, Austin Matthews has 38 5-on-5 goals, and the highest in the cap era, or going back to 2007, however far back Natural Stat Trick goes. At 5-on-5, the highest is 41. Stamkos scored 41 5-on-5 goals, and then the next highest right now, Austin Matthews. So second most 5-on-5 goals. And
that's 20 less games as well.
A lot, so 20 less games ish. So
pretty impressive.
See if he can
four more 5-on-5 goals, and he can pass Stamkos for the most. But yeah, he's a stud. Yeah.
You almost forget Stamkos put up 60, was it that year?
He did.
Then Ovechkin
he put up, that was the year he put up 60. Yeah. So when Ovechkin put up 65, he scored like 29 power play goals.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like,
that's wild. Yeah.
And I think he had a bunch of empty nets. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yep. And then Mitch Marner hitting a little bit more too. That's what I wanted to note with the
a lot more.
A lot more. How many hits did he get last game? Because he was credited before that, going into that game, he had 13 in his last 2 games.
Interesting.
Like some good things, some good stuff right there. Hopefully you lead by example and other guys buy in. But in terms of the forwards, anything else you guys had written down?
See what happens. Again, we keep talking about the lines and they don't seem to change that much other than the fourth line. And when Sheldon Keefe just gets cranky with the on ice performance and puts him in a blender. So we'll see. And we'll see what happens.
How would you guys feel if we brought out the blender in the playoffs? That's something you don't want to see at all.
Oh, God. Absolutely not. No.
Geez, no. Just want to make sure everyone's on the same page here. Okay.
No.
That'd piss me off a lot.
Yeah.
So we've gone through some forwards, gone through some D. The goaltending, I think, is pretty simple. Like, you need Campbell to play. It's going to be a tough goal if Shulgren's in there. I still think his reads need a good amount of work. but I think he could be a serviceable backup if he continues to improve next year, kind of thing, right? I mean, the Leafs are good enough to hide that deficiency, right? Cheap as well. So we'll see. Hopefully he continues to improve because it could be something decent, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Did you guys have around the league? So let's take 5 minutes. We'll talk about the playoff picture. And we got probably even more. We can do a whole episode on this.
Yeah, but just as we get closer, I know last year during the playoffs, a lot of people really liked a lot of the playoff talk we had. Even the non-Leaf related playoff episodes did pretty well. So,
yeah,
for those of you who aren't maybe following the rest of the league as close as you would the Leafs, right now, the Eastern Conference, we already know the 8 playoff teams. It's not all clinched, but we're already pretty certain. A couple of the races to keep an eye on in the East right now. Again, this is the one that's the most relevant to the Leafs too. It's Tampa or Boston that the Leafs are going to play right now. There's no chance they're going to catch Florida. As of recording, we're 10 points behind Florida with 9 games left. That's essentially impossible. So we're 4 points clear of Tampa, 5 points clear of Boston. So most likely we will have home ice advantage, knock on wood. Hopefully we keep that. And we'll be playing Boston or Tampa in the first round, which I'm sure will lead to a lot of groans from Leafs fans, fairly so. And I want to put the question to you guys. Which of those 2 teams would you rather play in the first round? Tampa or Boston?
Boston. Give me Boston. Let's exercise those demons. Give me Boston. I have my friends who are Boston fans coming out of the woodworks when we're losing to Buffalo, trying to chirp us. All I said was, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Obviously, it doesn't work for us. Not the best comeback because, hey.
A Leafs fan saying wait until the playoffs. Could you imagine?
But, I mean, I really like how we match up against Boston. I'm too scared to play Andrei Vasilevsky in the first round. That's, if I'm being 100% honest, that's probably the biggest thing I'm afraid of.
Yeah. Frankie Corrado brought up a point on TSN 1050, saying there could be a little bit of fatigue with Tampa. You never know, right? They're the champs until they're not. So that could be one advantage of playing Tampa Bay, but you don't know until you get there, kind of thing. Yeah. Could that fatigue set in the second round as opposed to the first? Could it just not be in existence because their first cup, they had a break before the playoffs, they had a break after the playoffs, and then so it's just one cup. It's been kind of where they haven't had that break, right?
It's essentially been 2 playoff runs in almost a single calendar year, which is wild, right?
No, it's yeah.
I'm saying they didn't have, because they finished the COVID season when? In August?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then they finished the following season in July or late June. Oh,
that's true.
So it's been very condensed for them, right?
Yeah. I was just thinking they had that break after the season. And then it was a pretty big break. They ended in August, but then they didn't start the season until January.
Yeah. That's a normal NHL off season, I guess. So, but it just seems like they've played a lot of hockey. We'll see what happens. And the reason I want to talk about that is because they have actually slowed down quite a bit in the second half.
Yeah.
If you look at their record first half or second half, it's not been good. And Boston's been the opposite, right? Boston has come on pretty strong here lately. So I'm just maybe playing devil's advocate, you don't want to play the hot team going into the playoffs. Boston's more of a hot team than Tampa. So would that make you want to play Tampa? I'm going to guess you guys say no still, but
no, I just don't want to. My biggest thing is give me who's projected to be not as good of a goalie. That's going to probably cut me back to bite me in the butt, but I don't want to play Andrei Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is Jerry Swayman played really well. And Joe, you can attest to this. He's slowed down quite a bit recently.
Yeah, that as well. And he's also a rookie. I mean, a rookie in their first, how many rookie goaltenders do really well other than Cam Ward? That's the one. Maybe Anthony. I don't know. Anyways, he's a young rookie goaltender. How many rookie how many rookies performed that well in their first playoffs?
For sure.
He's also young. Young. Not even a rookie, he's just young in general. He's still
98 born. 23, which is young for a goalie. So yeah, you're right. I would say.
I honestly thought he was a lot younger.
Yeah, at one point he had a 930. He's at a 916 now. Okay. So
I think
it's a good point.
When we're playing matchups, like you guys said, I think we do match up better with Boston. I think the goaltending, I still may lean to Boston because they may have two guys that they could put in. We probably don't have that right now.
No.
So maybe they have a slight goaltending edge, but it's pretty much a toss-up. Forwards, I know they have really experienced seasoned veterans on that top line with Marchand and Bergeron, playoff success, all that jazz. But their depth is not as good as the Leafs' depth. They're like Eric Hall has played really well for them, but Hall or John Tavares is your second line center, you know? So
38 points for Hall this year. And then Taylor Hall is okay.
Yeah, but Taylor Hall has the same point production as like Bunting and only slightly better as than a Kerfoot this year.
Yeah.
Especially goals-wise, he hasn't been able to generate
Colin Smith is not bad.
And both those guys don't play on the power play, too.
DeBrusk is not bad. Like,
I will say they play a really solid, sound defensive system, which we've come to
McAvoy Lindholm is going to be a good defensive pair.
For sure. I agree. And again, I just pulled up the numbers since January 1st. You guys will not believe the stat, but Boston is 4th in the league in points percentage. You want to guess where Tampa Bay is in points percentage since January 1st?
12th.
I'm going to say middle of the pack, probably like 15th. Like
14th in the NHL in points percentage.
That makes sense.
Get a little tired.
I'll say this, though. If they have to go to the other bracket, which would be instead of playing Florida, they'd play the Carolina, New York, Pittsburgh side, they'd win that bracket.
Probably. I didn't even think about that. I just had it locked in that it's either Boston, Toronto, and Tampa, Florida, or Tampa, Toronto.
It's almost certainly not going to be Florida versus Tampa or Boston, right?
Okay.
Unless Boston catches one of those, or unless Washington catches one of those two teams, because Florida is 6 points ahead of Carolina. So,
yeah, they're pretty well locked into that. But it'll be an interesting matchup. I mean, the Bruins do have some pretty scary players in there, but like they don't have a plethora of scary players, I would say.
I think Krejci is a bigger loss than a lot of people have talked about.
It's 100. Yeah, I think it's big in Boston, but not quite around the league, I would say. But other than that, I mean, Tampa, Boston, I think is going to be what we're going to be deciding about, unless the Leafs really lay a goose egg, but I wouldn't run it by them, right? So we'll get into more playoff talk as like in these coming weeks. We're almost here.
Right? We're almost there. 2 or 3 weeks away. Yeah.
Whew. End of April is the end of the regular season. So you guys got any last words?
That's it.
All right. Thank you everyone for listening.
Go Leafs, go.
The RinkRatReport podcast is brought to you by BetStamp, the ultimate sports betting companion app. Track, follow, and analyze your bets across multiple sportsbooks. And while you're there, check out the world's first verified buy and sell marketplace for sports betting picks. Download the app today. The RinkRatReport podcast is also brought to you by Season 2 of The Law Garage. Host Marco Sciarra, a Toronto criminal defense lawyer, interviews various criminal lawyers about the practice of criminal defense, gets them to share their war stories, and helpful tips for up-and-coming lawyers interested in the area of law. Out now on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Step into the garage, listen to the experts, and get a tune-up.